Tadej Pogačar has made the front group. He's in that split, but he is the only man from his team in this group. Okay, there's no immediate danger for him, but if he has a problem, he has a mechanical, if anything happens, then the Tour de France could be in play today on a day where we expected a sprint.
He's entering the danger zone, and this is where they would have been relying on the likes of Niels Pollitt and Tim Wellens at least to be there. The others, yes, you can sort of find an excuse for them not being there when it hits the crosswinds, but in all honesty,
hello, test.
It happened with a bang. It's been a slow burner. You just had to be riding position, and they've taken their eye off the ball and left Pogačar completely isolated.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. To have no teammates as a yellow jersey wearer, UAE, the strongest team without a doubt coming into this race. Just going back here to Mark Cavendish. He's got a teammate here.
He's in conversation with the commissaire, so they may have just given the infamous whistle and the hand signal. No more sitting on so close on the back of your own team car for extended periods.
Meanwhile, at the front, 73.8 kilometres to go, almost getting towards halfway until we turn into more crosswind. It looks to have calmed down a little bit here as everyone's on the radio checking who's present and correct. They're sort of sitting up, and there's a real opportunity for UAE Team Emirates to try and save the day. Riders caught out behind, I think, include Mywhoosh further back here too.
Yeah, plenty of them caught out. You could see Tim Wellens, man in the yellow helmet right of screen, also swapping turns at the front of this group in the chase. They need to get back to that front group in this tailwind section before they hit the next crosswind. If it kicks off again without them, that could be it, and leave Pogačar totally isolated the rest of the day. And we see the irritation from Mark Cavendish just being so closely policed by the commissaires, a TV motorbike. It comes with the territory, doesn't it? When you in the rarefied air where he sits, they tend to look a little bit closer and scrutinise you even more harshly.
It's down to 19 seconds as a couple of teams quickly come to the front and start riding again. This will be a great position for the rest of the GC teams to try and put UAE under pressure, not just because of the time lost, of course. It's the uncomfortable feeling for Pogačar being all alone in here, just in case, what if? But as it stands, it's coming back together rather quickly, and a big effort is being put in behind to try and close this gap now before we get to the next sector. And if you can, you imagine that UAE will be being told, do not make the same mistake again.
Well, they've got another 8 or 9k to get themselves back into this group before they make a left-hand turn. A short section of crosswind after that before they turn right again into a tailwind. Looks like they're going to get away with it for now.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be the biggest sigh of relief, isn't it, if and when they do make it onto the back of this front group, that they have all missed it, bar, of course, the yellow jersey wearer.
They're lucky it's not proper windy.
This Melissa bike still right on the front. Here we go, let's get on the radar. Let's see the reaction from UAE.
Who is behind from us? Is Tadej just in front? Yes, only Tadej. Maybe Pavel also. Tadej and maybe Pavel.
Well, negative. Pavel's not there. No
I'd
yellow
love to hear
helmet
the
on the
reaction
top.
after that.
At first
that
that
might not
sounded
be
like
broadcast.
No. Yeah, at first it sounded like Tadej was the one asking the question, talking about himself in the third person. Is it only Tadej in front? I mean me.
Now keep your eyes on this because it's getting closer, isn't it? It must be about 10 seconds now. There it is. Cavendish, by the way, at just under a minute now.
Well, this group will return. You see just the different shape of the two groups as well. Completely bunched in the front one, pace off. Nobody really pushing anymore in this tailwind. But behind, almost like a sprint lead out to get back on time. Here's Pollitt, third wheel.
Just getting him in there will be a huge victory, wouldn't it, for UAE? Not even thinking about riders there in the general classification, such as Almeida and Ayuso. They are going to get back, it seems, just in time too. Here we go. 10 metres, 5 metres, and contact. They are back. The day has been saved for now for UAE Team Emirates.
Still a bit of work to do. Get themselves in position now, back up around Tadej Pogačar and try and weave their way through towards the front of this group where Visma Lisa bike not missed a beat. They were the aggressors, but they were in position for a long time and then used everything. Oh, there is a real moment for Jonas Vingegaard.
Lampi and Lompart not too happy.
Even for safety's sake, for Jonas Vingegaard, you've got to use your voice, speak up and talk to the guy in front of you. You've got to avoid that.
"70 kilometres to go." First moment for a while where there can be a bit of an intake of breath. Pogacar isn't going south to meet his teammates. He's very much staying where he is. And you'd expect that. His teammates now, just one or two, have to try and get through somehow to the front. Cavendish is back in the cars, which is good news for him.
No teammate now, though. We did see him with a teammate beforehand, but he is able to use the cars now, pick them off one by one. That you can see number 13, the car of EF. So he's slowly making his way back into the peloton here. We are going to have a cross window again in around 4 kilometres time. See Red Bull Hansgrohe really taking control here with Roglic. So we had a call, didn't we, with the DS of Red Bull, and he was explaining to us Van Poppel, Haller and Nico Denz had been brought into the Tour just to create that bubble constantly around Roglic, and you can see that here.
They were one of the most impressive teams, weren't they? Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe had big numbers in the front, as you say, led by Van Poppel. Now Wellens has made a big effort to get up towards Tadej Pogacar and into about 5th position on the right, as there's another mechanical issue now. This time for Goudon. In fact, it's Gal, pardon me. Oh no. And that is an issue, because if it's going to kick off again, there could be more time shipped in the general classification.
Yeah, Felix Gao, of course, the GC rider for Decathlon AG2R. Sam Bennett, though, a good option for them today.
Cavendish coming back. Wait to see where Gal is and what kind of mechanical issue he had.
See Tom Pidcock as well. We saw him towards the back. I think he was one of the riders from Ineos to miss out on that front group. You can see him on the right-hand side, just trying to make his way up to his teammates. You can see Geraint Thomas, the last of those 4 on the right-hand side.
It's tense and nervy. And in all the chaos, trying to get some food, trying to get some hydration, which we know is mightily important. And even now, still through the feed zone, they fight for position. 35 on the right-hand side, that was Kwiatkowski moving up. A look around from Ben Turner there, because he's trying to find Carlos Rodriguez. Rodriguez, who has, as you said, Danny, Geraint Thomas sat on his wheel behind him. And Mark Cavendish is returning with another word with the commissaires. We're seeing another side to Mark Cavendish today.
He's irritated. Not necessarily a bad sign for his performance.
A very warm welcome back to television viewers as Mark Cavendish returns with a word for the commissaires.
This is the hardest car to sit behind in the entire convoy. Nothing on its roof. It's a lower profile sedan. Doesn't give you that slipstream like a station wagon does, or an estate, I think you might call it over here.
Say a station wagon. Yeah. Got you going down to the bottom.
Okay, we'll even include the Europeans and call it a break.
Not me there.
Me
Mind
too,
you,
Rob.
you are talking to the man who doesn't have a driving license. 66 k's to go.
Does that stop you from driving a car?
Yes.
It should do. I hope it does.
Thankfully, for most people, it does.
Rob, you're driving the commentary, so, you know. You're unlicensed for that too, aren't you? But you do a good job.
Thankfully, I think the consequences are much more benign if it goes wrong. Here we go at the front. Again, the nerves build. radio communications, making sure everybody's present and correct. This Melissa bike, they've been infallible in all of this so far. Left-hand side. Benud's been right up there. Vingegaard sits in third wheel. Movistar had quite a few bodies in as well, didn't they? They were good with Gaviria. Aramburu, the Spanish champion, was there. And by the former Spanish champion, Oyer Lascano. EF Education easy post this time, trying to get more bodies into the front split. Healy's not far away. Big Costa, he missed out last time. Gonna say goodbye to Danny Rowe. We're going to hear from Danny on the breakaway, and there'll be plenty to talk about on this stage with Ola and everybody else at the conclusion of it. Don't forget to stay tuned and join them afterwards. If you have to miss anything, reminder that everything is on Discovery Plus, live and on demand each every day.
Well, didn't that last 25 kilometres fly by?
Watching it intently with Sean Kelly. We'll let him finish wolfing on his energy gels and bars before he comes back, and he's going to need them all because this is non-stop at the minute. Bahrain victorious do not want to make the same mistake this time, Robbie McEwen. They've got riders to the front. They want to keep their men to the front, notably for today, Phil Bauhaus.
That's what you tend to see when teams, individual riders have missed a split like that. They come back to the front and they maybe end up doing a little bit too much when there's nothing happening. They're so nervous about missing the next one, they prop themselves right up the front. They're all eyes, all ears, and then nothing's going on for a bit, and you've just got to keep that concentration all day on a day like today. As Red Bull, Bora are doing on the right-hand side with Primoz Roglic. Opposite side of the road, his old team of his Melissa bike. Ineos are right in the middle.
Section again where if it's blowing strong enough, it's blowing from the right direction. But it seems to be more nerves than anything else. There's an illustration of that. 18 kilometers per hour, sort of on the limit really of being able to push it and do it.
Yeah, they're just on the next part of the course that could have a little bit of crosswind. It's going in the right direction, but as you can see, it's heavily forested at the moment on the left-hand side. And they're just riding behind a bit of a ridge line as well, so not getting buffeted by the wind. And in another 5 kilometres or so, they'll turn right again into a tailwind, which will bring them through in that pretty much that same direction until 44 kilometres from the finish. And it's back to the left, open sections, wind from the left. Let's see what Jens has to tell us about it all.
The tricky part today is for the teams and the riders to stay focused without burning energy, without being in the wind too much. Ideally, you want to be 10 to 20th position all day long, but every single one wants to do that. So there's this constant washing machine thing going on. You get flushed to the back, you move up to the front. Riders use a lot of energy just to stay in a good position, and you always want to be ready, but you don't want to be in the wind. So it's a fine line, and right now we have again perfectly 90-degree wind coming from that side, and the wind is definitely strong enough to split it back up again. Roads quality are mimi, and the road's a little bit smaller. So for sure there will be stress on everyone. The tricky part is to keep your powder dry for the important part at the final of the race. Back to the commentators.
I'm not sure I've ever heard of road quality, mimi, but I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I assume it's not of the very highest quality.
Doesn't seem like it, does it, as we see Valentin Mywhoosh. He has an issue going back to the car here. Just in front of him is Javier Romo, and then Mark Cavendish with his bodyguards and helpers, including Mika Marco and Davide Ballerini. We're in the Département de la Côte d'Or. And well, we've got our own golden boy back with us now, Mr. Sean Kelly. He's had his energy gels, he's had his lunch, He's ready to go again. Well, Sean, it got very interesting for a little while there. Calm down again now. What was your view on that? Pogacar was isolated.
Yes, well, it was a very interesting section there, but it has been interesting all day because it has been, you know, that just it's brewing away there, waiting for the moment we just had there for that final, that last 25 kilometres. And it's still going on. You can see here the way, you know, they're all just keeping their positions. And yeah, for some it's a horrendous day, for others it's not so bad. And you can see Pogacar, as you mentioned, Rob, he was isolated there, but very confident that first group. And even when he was isolated, there was 45 riders there. He went to the back, very casual, looking around. That tells that he wasn't under pressure at all. And you could see when they were going through as well in the echelon, he wasn't diving over. He was the left-hand side of the road, but he wasn't diving into the wheel.
Comfortable in terms of the situation there. Not too comfortable in terms of the nerves. They're still around. Still open. And yet to turn right back into that tailwind. This is Martin.
From Puy-sur-Saône, that is going to be pretty much sidelined all the way at 44.8 to go. So, yeah, this is going to be.
there's a conversation there. Chance to reorganise. For the next few kilometres, we're set fair on this road. It's at about 44 k's an hour when we get to the next town. Pouilly-sur-Saône. We see that left turn. Cavendish is going to go back on his own bike. Remember, he had to stop for a bike change a while back. Wasn't very happy with the commissars. He's chosen this moment to stop and make that other change. That means, Sean, that nobody's really expecting too much worry or action for the next few kilometres.
No, I think they can see and they can feel that there's that calm there for the moment. So if you need to make a change, this is the time to do it. But again, you know, when you look at the average of the speed they're travelling at here, you know, it is going along at a real fast pace here, and you know, if you can afford not to make any bike change, well then it would be a better situation. But yeah, if you're in Cavendish's situation, you want to get back on his race bike. We know Cavendish, you know, he likes a special bike, the race bike. We did see him changing the wheels the other day. He wants to stay on that bike, and yeah, you have to do it at some point, and now is probably the best time, because as we get ever close to the finish, this will just ramp up and get more nervous.
Into Beaune. Just down the road, actually. Beaune was a few kilometres back, but taking the opportunity to have a look around. The Notre-Dame de Beaune, dating back to the 13th century. Next town we head to is Corberon. So Cavendish out the back again, this time planned bike change. Mechanical issues from the others were sorted. While that's happening, a chance to look back to Beaune. It's the Hospice de Beaune, founded in the 15th century by Nicolas Rollin, Chancellor to the Dukes of Burgundy. Inspired by the architecture of Flanders, apparently. Oh, to be fair, wouldn't look out of place, would it? In Bruges. Medieval architecture. Look at the tiles on the top there. Polychrome tiles, the symbol of Burgundy. And that's the most famous part of that building, unsurprising. Glazed and varnished tiles. Back in the Middle Ages, we're told that it reflected the power and the standing of the person who covered their house with them. Each colour has a meaning. Blue for the sky, yellow for the sun, green for forest. Of course, in Burgundy, red is wine, and brown is the earth. Burgundian roofs have become a worldwide reference for roofs with multicoloured tiles and geometric patterns.
Also can give us confidence. We are by far the best team in the hectic. A really good job.
Christian Ehrmann there giving his encouragement to his team. Do you agree with him, Sean?
Well, they are in a good position. Their leader, Jonas Vingegaard, has riders around him. But as I said, you know, we're seeing a lot of Vingegaard. As we can see him on the very left here, third or fourth down in that line there of the Visma Lease bike riders. And, you know, that does take energy to just stay up here. If you can sit back where we can see the yellow jersey here in the middle, he's in third line. That is a much easier place. You get carried along, you get sucked along almost. In that situation, but yeah, riders differ, and some riders, you know, they're not comfortable there in amongst lots of riders, very, very tightly packed, and it looks like that Vingegaard, yeah, he's just playing it safe with his teammates, staying out on the side of the road, but it's definitely, you know, a bit of a more an effort for him to do that. But yeah, if a rider needs that, if that's where he's comfortable, that's where you need a team to be able to nurse him along and keep in that position and get him to the finish of today's stage. But it's definitely a little bit of extra work for the team and for himself.
Mark Cavendish back on the bike that he won his 35th Tour de France stage with yesterday, and back in the peloton. escorted back by Alexei Lutsenko and Yevgeny Fedorov. Lutsenko's on his way home back to the car again, whilst Kirsbol waits up in front. And this is where we're heading now. A little bit dark further ahead. Much more sheltered here. In any case, the wind would be coming from behind. Until 44 kilometers to go. By the way, if you like these nervy kinds of stages, a fan of the crosswinds, there's quite a few possibilities on this particular tour route. And we head to Paris-Nice country again, actually, next Tuesday, leaving Orléans for the rest day and heading to Saint-Amand-Montrond. That is a place heading due south that if the wind is blowing, there could well be chaos. There's more nerves than chaos here. Formula Zone, light blue of Movistar. What, I think I should say. There's some blue up there. Mainly grey, though, I'm afraid. Roughly 8 kilometers to go until the next change of direction. Chance to get some food. It's Ben Turner who picks up the bag for Ineos Grenadiers. Share out its contents. Now Kwiatkowski stopped up ahead to do the same. Order's been placed and here's the delivery. There's Aramburu left hand side moving up for Movistar. Rest of their riders in a line at the front with Enric Mas, as well as Fernando Gaviria. Gaviria riding his first tour in 6 years. This is Kelderman at the front. Bart Lemon just behind, former military man. His commanding officer Vingegaard just sat on his wheel. It's Pavel Sivakov, the Frenchman, yellow helmet on, white jersey, checking out the numbers, checking out the map, wondering what's next. 20 degrees today. And it's that vitesse vent and direction vent right at the bottom, in the bottom right hand corner of that graphic, that we're interested today. The wind speed and the wind direction. Wind speed average at around 18 kilometers per hour, but the gusts much higher at over 30 k's an hour. And that is all sud-west, southwesterly wind. Means that it would be just about crosswind, pushing for cross tailwind towards the end. Problems in the meantime mean that Tom Stills has to put in a sprint. And that's to help out Mikel Landa. Still up there in the general classification as well. Let's not forget 7th at 1:32. Had a lovely message yesterday for Cavendish, as did the entire Soudal Quick-Step team. Catch that on their social media. Landa was not at Soudal Quick-Step when Cavendish was there, but was a teammate of his.
So cringe. Why? Fucking doesn't lag for months.
And we're waiting for the next moment. Everybody's holding this position at the front just in case. Moscon and Lompard doing the job for the white jersey Remco Evenepoel. Mühlberger's now at the front for Movistar alongside Sivakov. Well into the final third of the stage today. Stage 6 of the tour. A nervy one, packed with crosswind action potential. We've already seen one split occur. It came back together. There were a few casualties. A couple of sprinters in there, a few GC riders. For Tadej Pogačar, he was on his own. But he was riding well. He knew what to do. The rest of his team were caught back at around 30 seconds. There's another of the many pats on the back there for Cavendish, this time coming from Dan McLeay, his compatriot. Cavendish Mywhoosh himself has had a couple of mechanical issues today. Sat nicely in the peloton now, just about as it starts to accelerate again, just as we look at it. 5 Ks away now from the next direction change. It's a case of waiting, watching, just taking the temperature of the peloton and watching the nerves. Some people relish this. Look at the big smile across the Flemish faces there. De Klerk, Lombard, Sturven.
Chance today, Fabio. You've been being better and better in the bunch sprint, 4th yesterday. Today is another chance. Do you feel like you are improving coming up to today's stage?
Yeah, I suffered on the first weekend, but yeah, the legs have been getting a bit better, which is it's not weird, it's okay, but yeah, we have to stay positive, and yeah, we're aiming for even a better result today. It's going. The shape and the form is going up. We are connecting well with the team in the final, and we just need to hit it perfect. That's what you need in Tour de France. But we will always aim and strive for that also today.
It seemed very chaotic in the first bunch sprint so far in the Tour. Can you try to describe the dynamics, the atmosphere? Because we haven't really seen a team having a perfect lead out yet.
Well, yeah. It's mostly chaotic because there is 10 single sprinters wanting to be in the first 5 to sprint for the win, and it's difficult for a team to really be organized behind that chaos. So I think all teams are just trying to drop their sprinters off in the first 10 and then tell them good luck and give it a go. But yeah, the pace is already so high and there's pressure on the legs. So yeah, that's why this is Tour de France. And I don't think we'll see many textbook leadouts here. We just see sprinters winning.
Good luck today, Fabio.
Thank you.
The days of the textbook leadout seem behind us for now. It's an interesting look at the front of the peloton there, Sean. The Flemish were really enjoying that, weren't they?
Yes, we could see Yves Lampard there speaking with Stuyven and Tim de Klerk, and there were smiles across their faces. They were probably saying, yes, a pity the Tour of France not like this every day, every stage. We would really enjoy our tour because, yeah, the big mountains is the place where they do not like at all. And this stage, you know, as I said, some guys are comfortable in this situation and they are settled at once.
Bismuth. Neerman. So in the foreground. Background there. Marson, of course, driving. There is Binyam my green jersey. It is the rule now. Sorry.
Yes, sorry, Rob. It's definitely the calm before the storm now, as we can see. Everything is relaxed. We can hear it in your voice, Rob. You know, you're calmed down a bit there. You're just relaxing now, getting ready to the final. And the same for the riders here. You can feel that there's a little bit of a lull here, but everybody is, you know, waiting and try and be in the place where you need to be, and that is in, you know, the top 20 or 30 at the moment. And when you know it's going to change direction, then when you get the call to make the move and get into, you know, the very front of the peloton, and that's in the top, you know, 20 places best to be. But we can see, Pogačar taking no risk at all. He's staying very much up to the front, and we can see the Visma Lisa bike also keeping that place on the front. And yeah, the other man we talked about from Soudal Quickstep, Remco Evenepoel, he's starting to you know, also stay a bit closer to the front. And now when you get inside this final 50k, 45k, that's where you've got to, you know, make sure you're in that position. And yeah, you're hoping that there's going to be teammates around you all the time. And you know, UAE, when they were that big split there, and you know, Pogačar alone, it's always a danger one. Even though you're not in difficulty at all, if you have a mechanical problem, you need your teammates to get you back, then it could be a real disaster one if they're in a split behind, which is, you know, 40 seconds, a minute behind.
Heading up to Pouilly-sur-Saône. Big left turn coming up, 1.5 kilometers away. UAE hoping hoping for a better response this time. And it's Jan Tratnik now who started to ride. The pace is really switched on. Sean said it was calm. It was. It's not now, though, is it?
No, certainly not again. You know, it just kicks up by probably 10 kilometers an hour, and yeah, when you're you know, in a position where it's not the place to be, well, then you're going to have difficulty moving up. And you know, now again, 61 kilometers per hour. This is just full on again, and yeah, this has been the case all day. They've just been waiting, and everybody is on high alert here, and you can see the reason why.
Left turn, big crash, and riders are down into the barriers. A couple are caught behind, including Chris Harper there. Jonas Abrahamsen went down. A couple of other riders from his team did as well. Tobias Hall and Johannesson being one of them. The other there being Johannes Kolset, the young climber from Norway. Issues too for Bahrain Victorious, and the rider involved is Fred Wright, the former British champion. And the reason they were fighting for that corner, it narrowed. There's a left turn here, and they are now back into crosswind from the left-hand side. At the front, everybody seems to be where they need to be. There's a lot of looking around, asking questions on the radio. Is any of our lot caught up in all of that mess? Viejo retakes his position. Wellens in front of Pogacar. Left-hand side is Tratnik, who's still there. On the right, as we look at it there, as we see the crash behind. After one of the riders didn't quite go down, but having to pick himself up. Kuset, Abrahamsen, and also Johannesson, the riders affected for Uno X, pardon me.
And the soft landing, plastic barriers.
Thank goodness for that. Not as much the case here. Riders getting back. 1 or 2 as well caught up behind it. Sylvain Dillier. Rapacine to Koenig. 18 seconds back to Abrahamsen, who's trying to make his way back to the peloton. And these are the other riders who are forced to make just that extra effort. It occurred probably around 2/3, 3/4 down the way through the peloton there.
Yes, and you could see Visma Lisa bike, you know, they were over on that right-hand side as they were going into that, you know, pinch point, and you could see they had to make, you know, a pretty tight move into the left a bit, and the riders behind, of course, you know, not getting enough time, and yeah, riders just going, clipping the barriers, and yeah, number going down there, but everybody come out who were quite okay, because, you know, they were travelling at a very high rate there, but everybody escaped well.
Sam Bennett, one of the riders caught out in the split there. La Peja, a couple of teammates of his as well. Armirai, that is Mars Pedersen just making his way back on. Back you can see the Italian champion Alberto Bettiol as well. Martinez, who's been found in the opening days of this tour, right at the back on each and every day almost. Stefan Bissiger there, who's in the aero helmet today. And this is Jonas Abrahamsen making his way back. So wind now coming from the left-hand side. Slightly more exposed sector coming up. It's more or less in this direction, but for a few kinks and slight changes all the way to the finish now. As you can see though, the flags right here aren't blowing as strongly as they were a little further down the road. They fought for the corner, they're into this sector, and for now there's nothing doing. Look at that. They're away from those forested areas. You can see that there's more exposed sectors coming in, slight changes of direction. And that should be the River Sun. On the way from Pouilly-sur-Saône, more or less following the river now and heading to Dijon, capital of Burgundy. Vineyards of Burgundy. Côte de Nuit, and of course it's in Nuit Saint-Georges where we head tomorrow. Uno X saved the day for the moment. Meantime, this Melissa bike, Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe do not vacate their positions. And Miguel being well looked after, same to be said of Carlos Rodriguez today. the teams who've been up the front for the most part of the day. 41.5 kilometers to go. It's all quiet yet again at the front. But for how long? Glorious.
Looking at it. Not glorious, you've been in that peloton for a lot of riders. It's been...
Well, it's interesting. It's a part of the world you know well, Sean, because you've ridden the other direction and won 7 times.
Yes, well, if you're a rider that can, you know, defend for yourself and have a number of riders with you in the team, then it's not a difficult stage. And as I mentioned, you know, Pogacar seems to be the one who's very comfortable. The Belgian riders, of course, they are going to be comfortable because, you know, they race from a very young age in the conditions we're seeing here today, windy conditions, open roads, and if that's the way you learn your bike racing, well then, you know, it's not a difficult one for those powerful riders. Of course, you know, the real climbers, it's a bit more a difficult one. When you look at Carlos Rodriguez, for example, he needs, you know, a good team around him, and Ineos Grenadiers are doing a great job, you know, keeping him very much at the front there. A number of riders always in front of him, around him, behind him, and that's what you rely on if you're a rider who, you know, is going to suffer a bit more in the real powerful accelerations when they have that side wind, as we see when the big split occurred there. So it's a day for some riders, a big stress. For other ones it's not as stressful because they can race in those conditions very, very well, and if you're used to it from, you know, the young age when you get into biking, well then it's quite a bit easier.
They're huddled together, drafting as much as they can, sheltering from the wind. With 40 kilometers to go, commercial break time. Speeds come right down now. 38 kilometers per hour. Amazing how it kicked up in the space of a few hundred meters before, with everybody being given the same instructions to fight for that turn. Wind coming from perfect direction to make splits. Minute, it is not quite strong enough. And, Sean, we say it all the time, but there has to be the will for somebody to ride and try and force the split.
Yes, well, you're always, you know, concerned that there will be a team, or, you know, maybe another team, riders, they know each other well, the same nationality, and they say, okay, you know, at this point we will try and ramp it up and see can we cause a split and cause a lot of difficulty for riders. And that is the concern. The wind direction as well, if it's in the right direction, side wind, and it's blowing strong enough, then it happens automatically, because all teams want to contribute when you get that echelon going. They all want to go through, because when you go through, you know, you get the shelter. If it's coming from the left, the front man goes over the left-hand side of the road, and if you're in that second position, well, then you follow him, and you stay at the side of him. You don't stay directly behind him. You stay just halfway up on the bike rider in front of you, and you get maximum coverage. And it goes back along, you know, in the group like that. But then it comes to a point where there's not enough room for everybody, so yeah, you're starting to, you know, find yourself in the wind, and that is where the splits occur. And yeah, like today, it's just, you know, relentless, because, you know, it hasn't been able to relax at all. There'd be no point where they could say, okay, I can just turn off now and go back to the peloton and have a chat with my friends back there. And this is, you know, the nervous energy aboard, not alone the physical stuff. And this is going to be another day where, you know, some of the riders, the toll is going to be bigger on them than other ones. But everybody, you know, this is going to be a hard day, because you have to stay alert, you have to keep on pushing. And when you see what they're doing, you know, they were averaging that 43 for quite a while. Then when we see that acceleration, it shot up to 45 average for the day very, very quickly. And you could see, you know, the pace and the effort was being put in there by all. But as I said, some has to do a bit extra to be in the position that they need to be.
To talked about there not being enough room for everybody there. We had a perfect illustration on those slow motion replays. Some riders forced to ride in the gutter with the bits of gravel, close, perilously close to being put in the ditches, and all sorts going on there as well.
Well, when you look at that, Rob, you know, we see the overhead shot there just before the split here, but you know, it comes back together again. You just look down the peloton, the way they're packed together, and people often talk about that, you know, that look at the Tour of France and all the race on the TV. How is it possible they can ride so close? But that's just practice, and practice makes perfect. And you know, you practice that from a young age, riding goes. But just look here, the way they're packed in together.
The extreme skill, high performance culture, and brilliant bike handling at the Tour de France is on show today. Everybody packed like sardines here, and we're packing them in the commentary box as well. Welcome back to Robbie McEwen.
Thank you, Rob and Sean. Yeah, just seeing a little bit of practice for stage 9 there. The gravel stage on Sunday. A few riders getting themselves just off the edge of the road, getting a little feel for the gravel. Now, sometimes when you need to move up and they're packed all across the road like this, you can have a bit of a look along the side and weigh up the risk reward and say, okay, it's not too bad. It's not full of rocks or anything like that, and just make your way up along the side just off the road and easily just pinch 50 or 60 places on a place where others may not want to take that sort of risk going just off the road.
Ben Turner at the front is doing a sterling job today with Castro Viejo as well as Kwiatkowski. This is Wellens, who's called out once, but he's here now alongside Pollitt, ready to help Tadej Pogačar. Girmay made the split last time, looking good in the green jersey. Let's hear what he had to say as he began his first day in green.
Benjamin, firstly, congratulations. Another first. You're in the green jersey. How does it feel to be resplendent in green?
Perfect. I think my day looks really good for the moment. Super, so far so happy, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying my time on the green.
And yesterday you sprinted with Gerben. Were you leading him out? Was he leading you out? You were 8th or 9th?
I think yesterday was, how I can say, it's a little bit different, tricky final. Like the plan is to do sprint also for me and for Gerben, both of us. So yeah, it's not easy to stick together and then to give help each other. So I just try to take the point as much as I can for the green, and he's also going for the victory. But like we see, I think it's completely chaos sprint. So yeah, I mean, today we try to organize more better on the final.
And this must be your main focus now, because you have a good lead, and also I think it's fair to say, out of all the sprinters, you're not a pure sprinter, but you can climb very well, so you have that versatility.
Maybe, I think, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm light, so I can climb quite better than the others. But if you look back, Pedersen, it's how I say, I call him like a climber, so he's absolutely flying. So, but with yesterday's crash, I hope he's okay. And yeah, for the rest of the others, I can climb better than them. So I'm really looking forward for the upcoming stage, because the more suit me stage is for the next week, especially on the weekend. So I'm just keep being focused for these days. Also today we will see. I will try to take as much as I can point to keep the green jersey.
Looking forward to the gravel at the weekend as well. He's a man who likes racing up in Belgium and that kind of classic style racing, Robbie.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit like Gent-Wevelgem with the plug streets, the gravel roads of Gent-Wevelgem, and that'll be a little bit similar to what we're getting on Sunday around Troyes, through the vineyards, the white gravel, lots of rocks, loose dirt as well. It's going to be a really tricky stage. But Girmay, when he's talking about lead-outs, team cooperation, I mean, both him and Karabatassin sprinting as best they could. But as they say, and I heard a good saying last week, you cannot dance at 2 weddings at the same time. You're just not going to get the maximum result from the team when you've got 2 fast men going for it. The problem is with them, Karabatassin is a pure sprinter. Girmay's a bit more all-rounder, fast sprinter, good at other things. Neither of them is a specialist lead-out man, so they find it very difficult to step into that role and do it effectively for the other. And then, of course, as Gumay said, he wants to defend green. Tyson was brought to the tour as the sprinter. It's a difficult situation and something the team is needing to manage on a daily basis when on the flat stages.
Well, with 34.5 kilometres to go, I'm on lead-out duty today. Time to hand to the sprinter, Colton Kirby.
Thank you, Rob. Gosh, what a day. It's hard to quantify, Robin McHugh, just how nervous it's been out there. There's not been a resting moment. Even when it's been quiet, nobody's been joking today, have they?
No, ever since the forecast became apparent for today with the wind conditions and possible gusts up to 40 kilometres an hour, there's been no rest even before the stage started. There's been teams putting all their resources into becoming meteorologists, studying the course, where the wind might blow a bit more. It seems at the moment with the clearing up of the weather, and we're going to have bright sunny skies as they come through to the finish, with those weather systems moving away, that's really been what's behind those bigger gusts of wind, the wind building up as those weather fronts move across. They're clearing away, so I expect the wind to be less gusty. However, that won't diminish the anxiety about crosswinds and echelons in this peloton. And I think from 30 kilometres to go, they take another turn to the left and things become a bit more open again, and it's going to be a bit more cross tailwind, a lot more conducive to splitting a peloton. So I expect from 30k to go, things are going to ramp up once again.
Well, they're already getting themselves into that pre-launch position, Sean.
Yeah.
As a very, very, there's a sense here of anxiety almost that you're going to find yourself almost accidentally in the wrong place.
Well, I think
they all know where they should be, but
it's just been like that. It's been all day like that, and you know, it's nothing changing here. And we can see riders, you know, getting the call, team helpers handing up bottles, so they make a bit of a move to try and get to the front, get to the right side of the road to pick up that bottle, and all of that is making it all a bit nervous. But yeah, the nerves are still simmering there.
Average pace today is just nudged up to around 46 kilometres per hour. That's a big pickup, especially when you compare it to our long run yesterday to Saint-Vulbas, full of drama at the end with a magical finale, as you well know. Just looking at our climbing for the day, we've got over 1,100 metres of altitude gain, but it's been the wind and the rain and unpredictable surfaces that have been the problem. Just coming out from the screen of the trees, Robbie, we all know about that. The wind can suddenly hit you. You can physically very much get a jolt from it, can't you?
Oh, well, that's the thing about a course like this. It's tricky because you come out of forested sections where you've got absolute cover, and people who are really in the know, and this makes me think a number of years ago at Paris-Nice when Alain Galopin was directing the CSC team. He knew the terrain and the area intimately, and he said to his team, in 3 kilometres, I know 100% the wind is going to funnel through and blow the race apart. Be there and just go. And that's the sort of thing that can happen here. It's the topography of the land. You get in between some small hills, a few gullies, you get certain sections where the wind just always blows stronger. And if you can anticipate those places, you can really take advantage of it. But they're the sort of places that, for most of this tour peloton, they'll spring up almost unexpectedly. So you've got to ride with the expectation that it will hit you at any second, and don't let your guard down. Even if in general the wind has dropped off a little bit, you can't be complacent that it's over.
As we head off and visit some seminaries, the Notre Dame de Citeaux, I imagine that there's some prayers being offered up as well within the teams. It may look quite benign, Sean, but we're cruising along at the moment, well above cruising really. We're 56 kilometres per hour. We're hitting as it stands. They're all kind of in formation, but this can't last.
No, and when you look down at it, Carlton, you know, you can say, oh yeah, they're going along at a very strong pace here, but there's no pressure at all. But there is pressure, and they have been for you know, all the day, right?
High heart rate today.
Again, you know, they're just all the time the changing of riders on the front, riders trying to move up, pushing on here. As you can see now, there's this, you know, up in pace again at this point, and it's Pullet who's really pushing on here. So yeah, they've got the call. Is it a turn that's coming up? Is it a section of winds?
Turn.
So Yeah, it's it's just all day the same situation.
I do fear for the end of Niels Pollitt's tongue, to be honest. It gets a right old chewing on days like this. It's his way of coping. Here we are. How will everybody cope? Big turn, a right-hander coming in right now. A little bit of furniture in the middle of the road. Not exactly ideal at a moment such as this. And you can see how important it was to be at the front, Robbie. 3 wide, having been 10 wide just moments ago.
Yeah, narrower road, right-hand turn into a cross-tailwind section. It's bumpy as well. And that's that anticipation. Again, it could happen here. Be there.
Big turn just taken. They've resettled themselves, but look at the pace that we're cruising along at here. From late 40s to mid 50s, they've just handled a turn which is, well, adjusted the wind to a cross tail. Very difficult to defend against, but at the moment, I guess the windless place to be is in the middle of this mosh, but to be honest, the safest place to be is out front. And they've built in a lot of insurance into this, and the principal teams, almost by rights, Robbie, have found themselves in a decent spot here.
Yes, Red Bull Bora, Hansgrohe, UAE, Ineos Grenadiers, Visma Lease Bike, all GC teams with a smattering of others. A couple of Astana riders getting themselves up amongst there, and Mark Cavendish has had his issues today, but he's right up the front there, just on the third line, just on the left-hand side of the middle of the road. Number 191 is Cavendish, and he'll be looking to go back-to-back, because as we know, once Mark Cavendish gets a stage win in the Tour de France, that's momentum. After one, you're officially on a roll when you're Mark Cavendish.
It's true. In fact, the only year when he's been winning stages on the Tour was 2015, where he only won 1. Of all the other years, it magnified into multiples. So we can only hope. Fabio Jakobsen, well, will things work out a little bit better for him? He's been kind of off the boil, but then again, he's actually been in the frame, I must say. Yeah. And that would be nice for him to turn around his own little story, Robbie.
By his standards, it's not a great performance yet, but it's certainly encouraging based on what he's been able to do so far this season. He's been in the top 10 a couple of times, so that's knocking on the door.
So we're riding along here between 50 and 60 kilometers an hour. The speed is fast. It's a bit of a tailwind here, cross tailwind, but I think not too much might happen though, because the open exposed spaces are too short to really cause serious damage. And then you're already into the next town or into the next piece of forest where everybody is protected and they could come back. So even though I wish for the action and the thrill, I don't think we're really gonna see a decision of the Tour de France tonight. They got the time trial in mind and nobody wants to be hurt. So I think if there's nothing really unforeseen happening, we see an entire peloton coming together, because the finish line is not too far away. And as I said, the exposed parts of the circuit are not long enough to really cause damage. So I guess we might still see the entire peloton together at the finish line. Back to the commentators.
Thank you, Genzi. Sean, there are some riders who, for them, the time trial is not exactly a day off, but it's just going to be a ride through. Is that going to factor in today? Can they afford to go just that little bit deeper on a day such as this, knowing that their duties will be suspended briefly for the time trial tomorrow?
Well, that's always the problem. The teams that have no interest in the time trial at all tomorrow, it's all about getting the stage win in this final 27.5 kilometers. They could quite a bit happen, because you know it does turn quite a bit, and if you really drive it on at you know, super rapid speeds, you could see splits still coming here in this final. Although, as Jensi said, the wind conditions may be not long enough open, but it depends on how fast they race. And yeah, the GC men, they want to try and conserve as much energy as possible for tomorrow. They are definitely thinking about that, but you don't have that choice as a GC man, because other teams want to do a different style of racing. They have a different strategy in their mind for today. So yeah, there's nothing you can do about it, and you have to follow those guys, because some of the other GC guys will filter in between the sprinters teams, and if you're not there, well then you risk losing time, and yeah, that's what you cannot afford to do.
The safety margin today, Robbie, has been sweated out to 4 kilometres for the GC men.
Yeah, again, that experiment trial period by the UCI and organisation is that we get a radio communication first.
Really focus on being together now. Did a really good job yesterday. Let's really make sure we're together now, guys. It's been hectic and nervous, I know, cost energy, but now we have to really get together.
Good advice from Matt Winston from the team car of DSM Firmenich Postenel, the team of Fabio Jakobsen we just spoke about. Encouraging results so far, and as we were talking about Mark Cavendish going into yesterday, all a talented rider like Cavendish, like Jakobsen, and many of the top name sprinters here, all you need is a decent roll of the dice. You just need things to go your way just slightly to give yourself a real fighting chance. And I won't write off Jakobsen, even though this year so far by his standards has been a shocker. You could rescue your whole season with a stage in the Tour de France.
You're right, Robbie. You cannot write anybody off. Somebody wrote Mark Cavendish off yesterday. He kind of dialed the clock back. It looked like Cav of old, didn't it? It was so smooth and assured. It was amazing.
It was vintage Cav, and we're talking about it in the breakaway post-race, that it was like watching the Cavendish of somewhere between 2008 and 2013. The way he would just go through it almost on automatic pilot without thinking, and making it look smooth. When it looks smooth, it's just way less effort, and he just, Cav of old was yesterday.
We've kind of got the we're kind of getting the Cav tick list of old as well, aren't we? We've seen him haranguing, having a go, digging in, just making sure that everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing, even if it's the commissaires.
Just making the team mechanic use every sized Allen key and star key in his arsenal to adjust to absolutely everything. He's on his bike and on his shoes, and then the irritation with being followed by the commissaire and by the cameras and talking to the chief commissaire at the back of the car. But that's just also vintage Cav.
It is.
When we said he was a bit irritated, and okay, I'm not saying it's wrong to be irritated. It happens, especially in a 3-week stage race. But he feeds off it. That is just
he
fuel.
does. I think that's the point. Sean is being himself, and he's back to his old self.
Well, certainly back to his own self, and as you mentioned, the sprint yesterday, that was, a super performance by Cav, just following and, bumping shoulders with the men that he needs to do to keep his position, and looking, around, looking left and right, and just getting to the point when he could kick off his sprint. And then when he kicked, he was really good yesterday as well, and really powerful. And that's what the sprinters are hoping for, because the day of the big lead out, where you have 3 or 4 teammates that can go into that final kilometre and drop you off at the point where you want to kick off your sprint at 200 metres out, we don't see that anymore. So you have to be able to follow the other sprinters, fight for your position maybe a bit more than you would if you had that big lead out train. So Cav is the one who can do that, and be able to do that at this point in his career, at the age he's at. When you're going at 65 plus kilometers per hour and you start bumping shoulders with somebody and the riders all around you, there's not many riders can do that late in the career, even when you've been a sprinter all through your career, and Cav is just still able to do it. He's got that, and yesterday he made it look so smooth.
39 years and 43 days, the second oldest stage winner in Tour de France history. Pino Cerami it was at 41 years and 95 days in 1963. Well, in the modern era, it's something quite outstanding for Mark Cavendish, and particularly in the discipline that he functions in, to be able to keep the focus and the desire and the drive and all of those things that are necessary, including a loving family that has offered up some spectacular support to him. It's amazing. Well, a little bit of chit-chat here. Cueto finally offering up a bit of levity. We're looking at Rob Heiss, but a few moments ago, Sean, while you were talking, Sam Bennett hoved into view. It is a flat. He's riding on as long as he possibly can, and that's the wise thing to do, to make sure that the service that you do get doesn't leave you with too much of a deficit once the change gets made. Rear tyre it is for him, rear wheel. Sean, Sam Bennett, chance today?
Well, again, Sam, if he can get his position right and just get that breaks that he needs to get, meaning in the sprint he can, be there, not having to make an effort to move up at a real difficult point. And we did hear from Sam, I think it was yesterday, there was, a pre-race interview. He said, you cannot take it up too early nowadays because there's so much powerful guys there. And if you take it up a fraction too early, they're going to come over you in a big flush in that final 50 metres. So it's all about, waiting, but then you have to be able to get the opening. You have to be in the slipstream of riders, then get that catapult effect at 200 metres to go, and that's what they're hoping for. And if Sam can get that, but there's many others as well are hoping for it, and there's only maybe one rider, possibly two, who are going to be lucky on the day will get that, and the rest are going to be disappointed. They're not going to be able to open up their sprint.
Well, as Sean says, there's generally only 2, maybe 3 who get to fight out the stage win purely based on speed. The rest are all trying to deal with everything that's happened to them in the final few kilometres. And with Sam Bennett, he was up there on time yesterday, but in the end it just turned out to be a little bit too early, and then he was washed away, pushed back and crossed the line in 15th position. And all it takes is just one bump where you've got to just ease off the pedals, or even worse, dab the brakes. You lose so many places. You get yourself on the wrong side, it washes around on the opposite side, and you just get completely swamped, and you end up riding to the line just in the slipstream between the wheels with nowhere to go, and you don't even end up really sprinting.
Adaptability is really what we're talking about when we're talking about positioning. Mark Cavendish yesterday, he lost the wheel of his team. They've done a great job of getting him drafted into more or less the right position, and then he went freestyle, Robbie, and that was about that adaptability that is crucial in that crucible that is the sprint pointy end.
It is, and we love to watch that freestyling, just ad-libbing as you go along and choosing the best train at the time. He followed Mathieu van der Poel and Jasper Philipsen, but also identified that with the course going around towards the right, that final bend, he didn't want to get caught on the right side, so eased himself out, followed Ackermann, launched from there. The rest is history, huge history. Let's hear from Anders Mielke.
I'm standing here in Dijon, only 50 meters from today's finish line. And let me talk you through the run-in. It's quite interesting point is with around 5 kilometers to go and all the way to 3Ks to go. It's slightly descending all the way down for 2 kilometers. Big wide road. It's going to be super, super fast, above 80 kilometers. Another interesting part is when the riders hit the 2K mark, they hit a twisty point. They go first right with 1.9, then left with 1.7. And in that left turn, it narrows in, meaning that the front of the peloton will squeeze in. The positioning will be key at that point. Then they arrive to Big Boulevard, around 1.5 kilometers to go. They follow that boulevard all the way to the roundabout that you can see in the end here. They enter with 700 meters to go out with 600 meters to go. Then they follow this road all the way to the finish. I have to show you this thing, the tarmac here in the middle of the road. There's a long, small crack in the road. I don't know if you can sense it, but it's with 100 meters to go and all the way to the finish line. Let me show you behind here. This is the finish where we will find the winner of stage 6. We have blue skies at the moment, dry tarmac. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you, Ander. The milkman always delivers. 20.4 kilometers from home. That valley of death in the middle of the road didn't look too bad, Sean.
No, I don't think at the rate they'll be going, although if it's really tight and it might be a little bit fraction slower if you hit that pan on for a couple of meters. Dry conditions at the finish, that is going to be important as well, and it looks like we should be able to get that all the way to the finish now in this final 20 kilometers. And it's going to be another hectic run in here in this final 20k. And yeah, it's a pretty technical one. We can see there with that just outside the 3 kilometers to go, it takes a little bit of left, and then there's a lot of concerning sections there, that narrowing part just inside after going through the 2 kilometers. All of that will be relayed to the riders, and that will just make it more nervous again. Everybody will be just really they'll build them up, the director sporties, they'll pump them up on the earpieces, and yeah, that will just build that tension, and that nervousness will be there, and yeah, it's going to be a one. Well, yeah, some of these sprinters, it's time, you get a stage win, because the earlier part, we always talk about if you can get a win in the earlier days, the first week of the race, it just takes the pressure off. But yeah, the guys who have won already, they're also hungry. They have got that motivation extra, and it's going to be the same situation. They're just going to really. Nobody's going to back off in this running.
Well, we had some nudges, some bumps and bruises yesterday, not least, of course, Mads Pedersen, who took a full Superman. Great avoiding action, I must say. Was it Zingler who leapt him at the very last? Bunny hopped him, phenomenal. Possibly added to a lessened list, reduced the list of injuries that Mads Pedersen would have suffered had indeed Zingler gone and crashed into him. They're all in colour order at the moment, and interesting to see Pascal Ackermann's team, Israel Premier Tech, lined up beautifully just on the shoulder here of Astana. He'll be led out later on by Jake Stewart, as you can see. Other help as well at hand for Ackermann, but he's well protected at the moment. We go down to a 4 kilometres from home marker, where the GC men may well indeed take their departure. We'll see if Mikkel Kwiatkowski is allowed a free hand. Tom Pidcock was a bit second-hand the other day. He was reaching for warm weather clothes when nobody else was. Ben Turner as well, fast men. But it's the out-and-out sprinters that have been very much part of the forefront of our thoughts over the last couple of days that are going to occupy, I'm sure, the podium today. Arnaud Delis wants to go a couple of steps better than he has done so far. Borra just coming up on the outside. Danny Van Poppel, a name that you can't discount, especially after a race that's been as tough as this one, Robbie.
No, well, Arnaud Delis, he's been round and roundabouts. He was 4th yesterday, 3rd on the previous bunch sprint. He probably would have liked a bit of a harder day, but the fact that they've been on the pedals all day today, it hasn't been really easy, although it looks like, spread across the road and just bunched and relaxed. They've still been riding high speeds. Even now, it looks pedestrian. They're riding 44k an hour. But there's a couple of things about this course that we just saw. We'll go over in a minute. There's a few complications.
Complications enough to upset anybody. Interesting to see Movistar here. They're working for Emmerich Mas, but they're also offering up a little bit of respite for Fernando Gaviria, who's my pick for today. He's somebody else that's been sniffing around, and like Cav did yesterday, he's a marvel at surfing. In fact, I think there was a bit of shoulders between Gaviria and Cav on the approach, on the run-in, and that shows bite, Robbie, and that's what you need.
Yeah, there was a bit of shoulders, just a touch, a brush of shoulders between Gaviria and Cav. Then there was a huge one between Gaviria and Phil Bauhaus, and nearly flicked Bauhaus right off the bike. He, in fact, ended up getting relegated, not for that incident, but something further back, further out from the finish, as did Drisden's and Mark Cavendish's teammate, Davide Ballerini. There was a huge knock-on effect from their coming together just around a kilometre to go. They also were relegated. But coming into this finish, we saw that the report from the finish by Anders Milkert, and he spoke about how the road sort of slings its way coming into Dijon. But just outside of 1 kilometre to go, I'm just pinpointing it here on my map. It's about 1.5 kilometres to go. They swing left. It's a single lane road. It is extremely narrow. That is a massive pinch point. If you can be with your team at the front there in control, that point I think will take already half of the sprinters out of the equation, because there's going to be a massive squeeze there. There's just not room for everybody.
By the way, Lockkeeper's Cottage just here. It's a fantastic restaurant. Just to let you know. They have to pull some perch out the canal. They'll fry them up for you. Who's going to get cooked today, Sean?
Well, that is the question, and hopefully nobody gets cooked in this final. Hope everybody gets a clear run, but we have been talking about this run in, the tighten up of the road. They'll be well aware of that, so the sprinters will try to be very much in the top 10 places already at that 1.5 approximately to the finish, where it does narrow up the road. And it's a place where you might not need to be in a normal big highway run-in. You'd be staying a bit further off, maybe with a couple of your teammates. So all of that, it's going to make it a really technical one, highly contested, a lot of risk taken, and there's going to be big risk taken here in this one again. And it's still early part of the race. I know we have had a difficult day today, but still I think there's a lot of riders capable of, being up here in the front, trying to help their teammates, and position, of course, there's only enough space for so many riders, and there's always too many as you go into the final, and the final corners, the final place where it does narrow down, and that's always the risk of crashes.
Groenewegen, if he can get his positioning right, you just never know. Michael Matthews will be part of his lead out. Luca Mezget's last man behind Arno Reinders, I imagine. Marijn van den Berg for EF Education. Why not? Jesper Philipsen certainly showed the drive yesterday, but just ran out of puff, I think it's fair to say, after a difficult time. So some question marks hanging over him, although he's been busy when it comes to the intermediate sprint. Mats Pedersen a little bit less so, but still feisty. Likewise, as yesterday, Alexander Kristoff took a tumble, rode the adrenaline home, I think, yesterday. Did he have a rough night? Will the big Viking go for it again for Uno X Mobility? We'll wait and see. Fabio Jakobsen could do with getting a great result, just as Mark Cavendish did yesterday, and we wonder whether he's going to do so again. He's been prickly, feisty, focused, you name it. Cav's displaying all the twitchiness that, of course, we were so used to in the past. Now that we've got used to him winning again. Gerben Tyson for Intermarché Wanty. It's probably going to be Biniam Girmay. He wears green. Tyson would probably be best suited to today, but Girmay, if he would have preferred it to be lumpy, it's been a tough race so far. So Intermarché Wanty's Biniam Girmay in the green jersey. Do not be surprised. I would be surprised if it's Arnaud Demar, but stranger things have happened, and he's got the great Dan McClay to lead him in. Luca Mazzato also on that duty. Arnaud Delis, the Belgian champion, who will be in the frame. Pascal Ackermann, former German champion, he most certainly will be for Israel Premier Tech. Sam Bennett, why not? For goodness sake. Dorian Godin and Ollie Nason leading him in. Wout van Aert, it's a big maybe, but he's got European champion Christophe Laporte, who unfortunately went roller bowler yesterday. We'll see how he goes. Phil Bauhaus, cue the music. It may well be. Nikas Arndt will be the last man standing for him. It's a raft, Robbie, of quick men. We haven't even spoken about the likes of Kukar and a few others as well. Anything can happen.
Yeah, there's a ton of sprinters here, all with those ambitions to win a stage. And as we said, there's just never room for everybody. And it's so cutthroat coming in those final couple of kilometres and relying on your teammates to get it just right, pilot you in to that final few hundred metres. And as I spoke about before, at the critical points in this last couple of kilometres, 1.9k to go, they swing right. Then 300 metres later, they swing off diagonally to the left in that really narrow road. That is going to be a pinch point, and that's why those lead-out riders are so critical. And we may see a couple of teams, the ones who have that depth in numbers for the sprint lead-out, they will be able to sacrifice someone to really drill it through that section to make sure their sprinter and the critical lead-out men, those ones for the 500 metres through to the finish line, that they get through there unscathed in the front. They're not trying to make up ground when things are already going at nearly 70 kilometres an hour before the sprinters go into top gear. So this is going to be a really tricky finish, and as always at the Tour de France, nobody is going to be backing off.
No, they're not. We've got a slight easement, you might say, but 46 kilometres an hour is still a decent pace. It's not the 50s, mid-50s that we've been experiencing as we've come into some of the more exposed sections. We're now kind of shaded. We're coming into town, and so the wind, much less of a factor, but the wind's been up the entire peloton today, Sean. It's been a nervous time, and nerves mean spent energy, don't they? When you're suffering that level of stress, it can have an impact.
Yes, we can, as we see Alex Renard here just getting moving again from mechanical, and yeah, this day has been a really difficult one. It's just been on the edge all day. More riders, maybe some riders more on the edge than others because they're not really comfortable in this situation. So you have to invest a bit more to stay in the front, and burn more energy to stay up there, where the riders can stay in the slipstream a bit more, use their teammates quite a bit. You can conserve that a little bit, but in general it's been a difficult day for all. And compared to yesterday, for example, it was a totally different day, and now they're taking the advantage of it here. The teams on front, they're happy with the situation. They're just rolling along at this strong pace, but they're not racing full on, and we're just coming up to 11.9 kilometres to go. So there'll be a lot of riders happy with that. You can just relax a little bit and get a recovery.
If we can, we try to bust it like yesterday. Of course, Phil has also the priority in final, but we have to come to the final. So guys, climbers, you have to stay close to the bigger guys.
Santiago Buitrago is the one that they're talking about protecting here, Robbie.
Bilbao as well, he's their main man for the GC, and that's the sort of radio communication we normally have to wait longer to hear, because from 11 kilometres to go there was the prospect of it being a little bit more open, no more of that sort of protected forested areas and possibility of the wind pushing in from the left. But to hear that now that team is quite prepared to drop the hammer already now, it's sort of the communication that's held off for a while tactically by our team there at ASO and controlling these radio communications being fed out to us. So see if anything comes of that, with Bahrain Victorious trying to light things up for Phil Bauhaus while taking their GC man Bilbao in tow.
Just getting himself back in here, Alexis Renard. Also noticing that Arnaud Delis slightly out of position at the moment on the left-hand side of the road. His team have been, oh, hello, this, you know what, it was a sudden kickback there. I thought we'd got a touch of wheels. Just an ebb and flow, still everyone on their bikes. There it was. There was that shimmy. It was so close, wasn't it? It could happen at any time. I think Cav might well have just been nudged out there. Let's have a look. No, he's safe up front. Yes, he is. But nonetheless, any time, Sean, any time.
Yes, at any time. This is where you have to, total concentration. Just keep your eye on the front of what's happening. Not look around you, certainly not start talking to a rider. There's nobody talking. You can see here everybody is, full concentration here in this final 10 kilometres, because at any moment, there could be a little bit of a move from left to right, a switch as we call it in bike terms. It can break a little bit for some reason, so you have to be, fully alert all the way to the finish here. And unless you can sit on the rear here, and there's riders sitting on the very rear in the last 25 positions, they're not going to contest anything here. They're going to follow, and if it really gets a bit too fast, they'll probably knock off their effort. So for those guys, it's an easy situation. But for anybody who have interest of staying in the front of the race, GC men and their riders, their teammates, and the sprinters, it's really intense focus, full on here all the way to the line.
Right, put this roundabout in your mind, because they've got to deal with another one very close at hand. Now, it is apparently screened off on one side, but we should wait and see, because it comes with only 650 metres to go. The main worry, the main filtering is we've got Mark Renshaw giving us the old thumbs up. They're clearly going to go for it again. Still in the afterglow of yesterday, and here is Astana on the left-hand side of your screen, right-hand side of the road, just bossing the apexes at the moment. That shows that their gander is up, and you wouldn't expect anything else. A little bit of a double check on the exit from it, and that kind of magnifying what we've got to deal with. 2 squeeze points, Robbie, before we, just after the 2Ks to go marker, and they're going to have to, well, they've been practicing the fight, haven't they?
Well, practicing the fight all day long at this stage. Intermarché coming in hot on the radio.
Now, as soon as there's space, we have to start moving, because we're quite far back.
Well, it might already be too late for that move, because we've just seen Astana just take up the right-hand side of the road. Yesterday, they did it from 30 kilometres to go. So this is already in range to start winding things up. And we've heard also that the road is more exposed through this part of the course, from 5 kilometres to go. Very, very open, with a good strong breeze just over 20 kilometres an hour pushing in. You see the flags there on the right-hand side. So this is the moment that they've chosen to bring Mark Cavendish into a safe position to try and control that one side of the road. Only able to pass on the left, all the rest, and that should keep Cavendish in a position to fight yet again for a win. And Project 36 might only last 24 hours.
Let's wait and see. Long wait for 35, but they could come like an avalanche. Let's wait and see. Interesting that William Gamai's boys are bringing up the green jersey as per instructions. Also, Arnaud Delis and the Belgian tricolour is up towards the 4. Few out of position, Sean, and it's a long way back if the pace like this, and of course with the pinch points that we've got as well along the way. The next 8 kilometres, it's going to be frantic for those who are out of position, including Biniam Gamay.
Yes, we can see again that he's a long ways off, and his teammates are a little bit all disengaged here, and this is going to take an effort now, as we can see moving up here close to us. And it's certainly not over yet, but the effort you make here, if you haven't got teammates around you having to move up, this can dent your final sprint to the line.
Left or right, take your pick. Equidistant, it seems, this time by the green jersey of Biniam Gamay. Just lost from his own team. They all moved up, but they moved up without him, Robbie.
Yeah, he just missed that little acceleration, and when you just get blocked, you lose your team very quickly, leave yourself with a lot of work to do. But on that roundabout, left was a little bit quicker. We saw Alpecin de Koenig really shift up right towards the front with Jasper Philipsen in tow on the wheel of Mathieu van der Poel. Van der Poel, for mine, was just a little bit off his best yesterday, unable to really get Philipsen through to the front, and he ended up in a bit of traffic. We have a crash.
We have EF Education are down. That's there's plenty of them there as well. I don't know whether the thoughts are with Marijn van der Berg, but yeah. Clearly, he was the man that all was built around today, and I'm afraid this is too late for them to get back in, Rob. It's far too late.
You'd think so, 7K to go. If you could immediately jump up and take off, then maybe you'd be a chance of reaching the peloton again. But just that squeeze, a switch, and it just goes further back, and he's just Supermaned over the bars in the end, hands out and straight onto his chest. A couple of others going down as well. In fact, one other from DSM. But that'll be the day over for Marijn van den Berg. This will not be coming back into the peloton. It's taken a long time to get going. So I think they can scratch this one off.
Happens, Sean, at any time. You've got to have your wits about you, particularly today, it seems.
Yes, and even with your wits about you, if somebody brake really heavy, and with the disc brakes now, of course, they can.
What up?
They're so precise, and they
Couch, thank you.
In front of you, he just
for the follow.
A fraction of a second before you see that he's braking, well, then you can actually smash into the back of him, and that's a problem now. And this is the problem with bike racing. No matter how
I like the name; it's good. Couch to marathon.
How alert you are, it can still happen.
Nice.
A few others just trying to find room on the road where there is none with these big.
Anybody can do it. Just takes persistence.
Pins out good and proper, but amazing job being done at the moment. It's a flotilla of Astana, Kazakhstan in the aqua blue over to the side of the road, just folding over them. Looking after Jonas Vingegaard, of course, Lisa Bike, Alpecin in the frame. We're thinking of Jasper Philipsen, who's got his eyes and his thoughts, of course, naturally enough, on the green jersey, currently sitting on the shoulders of Biniam Gamay, but will that be the case by the end today? Phil Bauhaus and Bahrain victorious.
Marathon's still on my list. I did a half marathon on a whim. Took me 3 hours.
Still got cards to play deep into this race, but
so marathon probably
want to enjoy today.
A good 6, maybe 5, depending on.
I'll be thinking of doing something, I'm sure.
I don't do a lot of running.
Tomorrow, a lumpy one won't be too bad.
I got really big, heavy legs.
Stretching out, if anything, Carlton. This is the section we heard about before. Around 5 kilometres to go, much more exposed. The wind pushing in from the rider's left-hand side. And an ideal situation, in fact, now for Astana and Mark Cavendish with Visma, Lisa Bike, Thies Benoit is the man on the front. They have started to wind things up, and it's effectively become part of the Astana lead-out. Right-hand side of the road, keeping them out of the wind, safe at the front. And look at the scramble around on the other side to bring their riders up. Now, Lotto Destiny for Arnaud Delia there with numbers. Bahrain victorious, Biniam Gamay, extreme left, being brought to the front by one of his teammates, but that's catching a lot of wind over on that side. So he's fighting to get around, trying to get back inside towards the middle and get out of that breeze.
He is. Okay, BNB with Anna Demar. They just had to go all the way around them. Encamped in here. Biniam Gamay in a great place. Mark Cavendish likewise just on the back of his line. Still Bidon's being jettisoned. Dylan Groenewegen gets active. Suddenly we see the ochre shoulders here on the left-hand side of the road. Dylan Groenewegen, the Netherlands champion, just in front of Biniam Gamay. There is Demar. Mark Cavendish also writ large here. 4.4 kilometres to go. Almost at that crucial marker, the safety marker for the GC men. And this could well thin out after being bunched up right now. Suddenly there could be a bit of space to play with, and Sam Bennett, that was misidentified. That was Dylan Groenewegen that was just pointed out to you there for Jayco. 4Ks to go. Screaming it in, a little bit of a ramp as well to add some impetus. Sean, here we go.
Yes, well, here we go, and this is now the time for the sprinters to get into the good position if you're not already in it. And we can see there, Germay was really fighting to, you know, get in the wheel of his rider, Tunison, and yeah, it's all just full on here.
Mark Cavendish on the left-hand side of your screen as you look at it right now in almost a perfect position. Also battling here is Sam Bennett and the Decathlon AG2R Le Mondial men. Steaming up through the centre comes Lidl Trek with Mads Pedersen, and still playing the game here is Jonas Abramson in the polka dots. He's looking behind like he's trying to find Alexander Kristoff, and Kristoff is there. Is he up for it today? Is he battered and bruised, and will it be Warensholt? Nobody knows. 3.3 kilometres to go. They've made that turn, that left-hander. It's a sinuous run now, Robbie, down to the big squeeze points.
It is with the GC riders. You can see Vingegaard and Tadej Pogacar just shadowing each other. They've backed off. They feel like they're in a safe zone now. Get out of the way for the sprinters. And it is Abrahamsen in the polka dots for UnoX Mobility. The whole team in his wheel with Alexander Kristoff. Shuffled away for a while was Astana, but they've made their way back to the front under the 3 kilometres to go. It's downhill, it's fast, it slings around to the left, then back to the right. Then we get those couple of corners back to back. And at 1.9 kilometres to go, a critical point, they swing hard right, 300 metres, then they go left into a single lane road. So here the real battle now begins for the lead out train, and it's time to start using riders up, sacrificing, keep that speed high, and do not relinquish your position anymore. Right hand side Van der Poel with Jasper Philipsen, De Lee over that side as well.
Pedersen indicated for you, Alexander Kristoff likewise. Mark Cavendish still in a half-decent position. Let's see, indeed, if the train are required or whether they'll keep themselves nailed on. UnoX Mobility getting very, very loud in the blood and custard of their jerseys up front. 2 kilometres to go. Pinch point coming up for you right now. And this is where the road jinks and dives. Gets very, very narrow. 4, 5 wide, maybe won't go all the way through. Best place to be is up front, and that little shilly-shally masterfully taken, I must say, by UnoX Mobility. Now the danger is that they go too early.
We got 2 KMs.
Good and proper, as you can see. Who else is involved here? Great to see that Mathieu van der Poel is here, working for Jasper Philipsen. That could well be the ideal lead-out, but also Lidl Trek very much involved. The second of our pinch points here, unwinding it with 1,600 metres to go. Arrow straight all the way down to the roundabout, Robbie.
Not quite, 1.2 kilometres to go. Large roundabout. They go around on the right-hand side, but it's a couple of lanes wide. Still plenty of room, but look at the rush now. They will see that point coming up. Right-hand side, Jaco Lula for Dylan Groenewegen. Arnold de Mar with his men in red from Arkea B&B Hotels, pushing up right through the centre. UnoX Mobility, they're still defending at the front. Jakobsen coming left of picture. De Lee looking for a wheel. He's on Dylan Groenewegen.
Magnificent, and you can see as well Van der Poel with Philipsen on his back wheel here, picked out for you. There is the green jersey of Germay. Can't see Mark Cavendish just for the time being, not up towards the pointy end anyway, just as we stand with 800 metres, 700 as soon as they've cleared this roundabout. There was only one way through it, so it opens up wide and proper, high, wide and handsome for somebody. Where's the drive? Here comes the world champions bands here with Jasper Philipsen on his back wheel. That looks like the wheels to follow if you possibly got anybody to go with. Mark Cavendish not quite in there just for the time being. There's Biniam Girmay, however. Oh, it's too late for Mark, but big news here for Van der Poel. Is he going to make it count around the outside, coming at pace here? Jasper Philipsen comes and takes over. Biniam Girmay comes up, dead through the centre. De Lee in the middle here as well.
Maybe next time.
Phenomenal with De Mar Groenewegen on the line. Brilliant work. Oh, he had to be absolutely where he wanted to be. That was a piece of class. Hard fought till the very last there, Sean.
Yes, well, a close one there. Philipsen was also coming up. Not sure.
That was good.
I'm not sure either, Sean.
Groenewegen,
Philipsen, neck and neck either side of the road. De Lee through the middle, and he hesitated, he waited. Groenewegen came out of his slipstream, and then Philipsen re-accelerated.
You can see my skin's all red.
Dylan Groenewegen, do they know something we don't yet? We're going to have to see the photo, because both throwing for the line and immediately looking at each other, neither of them sure. And as a sprinter, you're always sure when you've won. You're sometimes not sure when you've lost. They have no idea just yet.
Groenewegen has been declared.
Unbelievable.
Dead centre, phenomenal on the throw. Jesper Philipsen just over on the barriers. Gamay gets third place. Brilliant. Gaviria in the frame here as well. De Lee, likewise. Bauhaus looked lively on the day. What a phenomenal sprint finish that was. Lots of boxing, lots of juking and diving, Sean, but we got our winner.
Yes, we've got our winner, and what a sprint it was there. You know, the two men, each at different sides of the road. Of course,
Definitely warmed up now.
That little bit more power, and that throws the line. Although both of them did throw, he just gets it by the minimum, and you could see there he wasn't sure either if he had got it, but you could see Philipsen at the far side of the road. But yeah, doesn't matter how much you get it by, the win is what you want to get.
Cathartic moment. Phenomenal. Well, here it is, take it from overhead.
Well, we can see here De Lee starts to lead out, and then Groenewegen just comes off the wheel. Philipsen at the far side, you know, just kicking off as well, but Groenewegen the better one on the day.
Fabulous sprint finale. Groenewegen roars. He's brought his aero nose to the line, Sean.
Well, I don't know if it's the nose or the legs, but you know, something has got him there, and yeah, he gets his stage win. And again, you know, we could see there same situation as we've been having in this race, where the sprinters, it seems to be that there's, you know, not a super lead out anymore. No team with a number of riders able to take their man to that point. It's just, yeah, between the sprinters trying to get their position, and yeah, Groenewegen, Philipsen, they were the ones who got the better position at the right time.
Tough day, nervous day, and an amazing winner. Dylan Groenewegen. And so it is. Groenewegen takes it ahead of Jesper Philipsen. Biniam Gamay still brilliant and up there in the mix in third place on the day ahead of Gaviria, Bauhaus, De Lee, Van Aert, Demar, Christophe and Ackermann.
Dylan Groenewegen, 2 years and a single day after his last victory at the Tour de France, is back victorious again. At the expense of Jesper Philipsen, who can't quite get over the disappointment. So much effort. The lead out was so much better. Oh, and that's what it means. That is what it means to him. He's not quite
I'm empty.
yet.
All empty.
Prepared to close the door on Van Aert. Have you seen Steph?
Might have to refill.
More chaos in the sprint.
All right, 1 sec.
Let's get some first bit of reaction then with Hugo Page.
Hugo Page, a chaotic, stressful day. But what was the finale like for you leading out Benjamin?
It was not easy. We need to be focused all the day with some echelon. Bini was here in the first bunch with Mike and Garben after everybody come back together. And yes, the sprint was a little bit chaotic, little bit dangerous. Yeah, it was not the best work for us. We need to speak a little bit and to get better Saturday, but it's also not easy to stay together with a finish like this.
Who were you actually leading out to? Was it Gerben or was it for Benjamin today?
No, today we was focused on Bini. He have a green jersey, so we put all the focus and all the train for him, and Garben was free. Yeah, for the moment I don't see the sprint, but we are not a good organization at the end, but I think not a lot team was very organized today.
It's so difficult. There's so many teams trying to fight for position. It's so stressful at the front. Describe what it's like.
Yeah, there are a lot of stress because there are also a lot of people on the road, so we don't hear a lot. And also all the GC team was here, so yeah, a little bit chaotic, but at the end it take third place, I think, so already it's also good.
Merci.
Thank you.
Well, time to cool down. Trago and company. Bahrain victorious. They had Bauhaus a little higher up today. But again, as you heard, so difficult to get right. But one team has got it right. Here they are. Here's Matt White.
I feel like I can move my seat up. One more click.
Today, in a photo finish, he takes the victory. How much did you need that here in that Tour de France, that victory?
Oh, well, every team needs it, you know. Like I was just saying before, you know, a massive chunk of our publicity is these 3 weeks. That's win number 19, but I think we trade the other 18 wins in for today's one.
You came up late. There was many other teams who had the control in that final 10 kilometers, and it seemed you were on the back foot, but patient.
The boys did stay patient. They came and went, and it was a very, very messy sprint. But the main thing is that he got there fresh, and he got open air because he's got a lot of speed. He's changed his training this year, backed the volume off a little bit this year, and really concentrated on what his biggest quality is, and that is speed. And he showed a clean set of heels today.
Just talk me through that final and how important the lead-out was, and also what it means to the riders here. You see Luke Durbridge.
Well, look, every year you come to win a stage. And last year we came, I don't know how many, we got 3 or 4 second places, 4th on GC, and it was a great tour. But you're judged by your wins, and you know, it is hard to win it. It's never easy to win. And like I said, a lot of your year is judged on these 3 weeks, and to get one in the can so early is great because obviously there's more sprint opportunities to come and other opportunities for other riders in our team.
The big question, who's he wearing the special glasses?
Batman did win today.
Batman took the win. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the victory. Thanks a lot, Whitey. Thank you.
Well, he'd been Bruce Wayne until now, but the mask was on, the cape was flying. Oh, and the Batmobile finished first. This is how it came in the last kilometre. Paul moving up on the right hand side. The lead was following Philipsen through the centre. Uno X had kept their position. And Groenewegen by this point's alone. He's following the lead.
You can really see the blood on my skin like dissipate over my whole body.
Just as Philipsen starts to deviate and close the door on Van Aert, maybe. The left, it's Philipsen. On the right is Groenewegen. And he takes the victory. Let's hear from the man who's won for the first time in just over 2 years at this race, the Dutch champion.
And you've been chasing for this victory for quite some time now on the Tour de France. Last time was 2022. You've done it. You're a happy man.
Yeah, really happy. It's the feeling is so amazing. And that in the red, white, and blue jersey. Before I say it will be a beautiful picture, but it was that close that I can celebrate on the finish line. But on the end, we grab it, and the team worked so hard, also the last days. And yesterday, I was a bit disappointed about myself because the team did a really good job. But yeah, today they nailed it again, and in the final kilometers, we stay calm and had a right moment. Then we go a bit in the slipstream, and then I actually don't know what happened, but I was first.
Yeah, because you chose the right line, and it's always super complicated on Tour de France to find the right line. It went perfectly for you today.
Yeah, it slowed down just a little bit, and I think it was Uno X and Alpecin. And then, yeah, I was fighting for the position. And then I go, and I think it was Philips on the right. Yeah, we're sprinting next to each other, so I love these sprints next to each other, and then I beat them just on the finish line, so that's good.
Were you doubting a little bit these last few days, these last few weeks? Were you doubting a little bit?
Yeah, yesterday I was really disappointed about myself. Also the first day, but yeah, the first day that's like sprinting. Sometimes open the gap, and sometimes it's closed. And then yesterday I even didn't sprint, so I was disappointed about myself. Also because the team worked really hard, and yeah, now today we have the victory. A victory in the first week, that means a lot for me, but yeah, of course, also for my team.
And the goal is to aim for more victories on this tour. Now you've done it.
Yeah, hopefully. The sprint field is really strong. Also, all the lead-out teams are really strong. But I'm so proud how we did today, and yeah, hopefully we can do it one more again.
Thank you very much, Tim.
And this is what it means for the whole team back at the bus. Michael Matthews as well. Mitch Docker there celebrating with Luke Durbridge. And Jaco Alula have a win on the Tour de France.
Another bunch sprint at the Tour de France and another new winner of the sprinters, Jens. This reminds me a little bit of the Giro last year where we had a new winner day by day in the bunch sprints. Now Dylan Groenewegen is also on the list in the Tour.
So now that we're almost 1 week into the Tour, with the sprints, for example, I noticed two things. The classic lead-out doesn't exist anymore. Apparently no team is able or strong enough to ride tempo to drill it and control and dominate the race. That's one thing we noticed. And the second thing is, you just mentioned it, the sprinters are so close to each other. It's the day's luck and the day's shape that decides. Jasper Philipsen missing again. He's almost there. Mats Pedersen, you know, hurting his shoulder yesterday in the crash, missing a little bit. That's enough, and you don't win anymore. So yeah, every day a new winner. It is fantastic for us, but frustrating for the ones they don't win.
And a big relief, obviously, also for Team Jaco Alula. Jens, you were on the bike today. It was nervous out there with the crosswind. Tell us how it was out there and how you experienced the split in the peloton.
All the teams were so prepared that from the helicopter view or from the front, it looked almost like they were riding along because they filled up the entire road. But everybody was so ready, constant talk on the radio. Stay to the front, stay to the front, stay to the front. Then, when it did split up, Tadej Pogačar, shockingly, was all by himself within 60 riders. So it went all lucky for him. They came back. There was a big, big warning, a big wake-up call. And after that, everybody neutralized each other so perfectly that we didn't see splits happening. But it was a hard day, challenging day also mentally, always to be ready. So it was a tough day in the Tour de France again, with a happy end for Groenewegen.
A big wake-up call for UAE Team Emirates, but an even bigger win for Team Jaco Alula and Dylan Groenewegen.
Oh, it was big. It meant a lot. Yeah, from Matt White about what it means to the sponsors. From Dylan Groenewegen,
Gotta be those
especially in
Aero
that national jersey now.
sunglasses.
And the whole team fully invested. It's party time for Jaco Alula. And for Tadej Pogačar. Yellow jersey on his back, time trial tomorrow. And Evenepoel's already in that time trial position, the world champ.
No, I just don't want to be like this inside.
A little bit irritated with where the bike's set up there. Let's go to a man who's much happier, Chris Jensen.
Chris, well, firstly, congratulations on the win. What was the plan going into today? Because that was so chaotic in the final.
Oh yeah, well, I mean it was a chaotic stage, stressful. But I mean the plan was, as it has been whenever we have had a sprint stage, put on the line for Dylan. I mean he's shown that he has the speed, he has the legs, and he's a fantastic leader to ride for. So despite it not going the way we'd hoped, the last two sprints, we were all still extremely confident if he got the chance that he'd be able to pull it off. And it's something we really want to put it on the line for, and for it to happen today is fantastic. I mean, especially in the first week of what is already a super hard tour, and will only quite possibly, most likely, get even harder. For him to win a sprint is brilliant.
What was your particular role today? You spent a lot of time with the wind, and there was a lot of difficult crosswind out there today. No breakaway either.
No breakaway. I suppose we're going to have to start getting used to no breaks in general in the sprint stages. There hasn't been one in the last two sprint stages either. But my role, I played a smaller role than the rest of the engine room boys that finished it off in the final. But a day like today, there's so much interest from the GC teams, sprint teams, and the road's constantly blocked. There's a risk of crosswind, a bit of rain, crashes and whatnot. So I just tried to do my part, but what a relief to be able to hear on the radio that he pulled it off. And I mean, chapeau to him, the entire team. I mean, we also, I mean, the staff that we have in this team, they work day in, day out. It's unbelievable. So for them as well to get this stage win is excellent. I mean, it's going to make this tour even more enjoyable than it already is.
Enjoy tonight. Congrats again, mate.
County Wicklow's Chris Jensen in conversation with Matt Stevens. Calm returns to Dijon. Podiums and celebrations coming up, more reaction as well. And the peloton will start to change focus now. It's time trialing tomorrow. Burgundy time trial from Louis Saint-Georges. Venue for a sprint finish a few years ago. It's confirmed that Tadej Pogačar will be the last to start in tomorrow's time trial. He's still wearing the yellow jersey, and he's on his way to take his prize again. Let's see how today went then. A few nervous moments along the way for the GC guys. We expected a sprint today. How would it go? There was doubt, there was wind about. There was a possibility for those nerves to transform themselves into something else. Would they manifest themselves in splits and moves? Peloton left Macon, and the first man up the road to take the single point on offer in the King of the Mountains competition was the early King of the Mountains. Jonas Abrahamsen back today in the polka dots. But he'd have competition. Axel Zingler would join him. Right from Alsace, but based in the region of France where we began today. Wouldn't be naughty enough to take the single point of Jonas Abrahamsen. They talked about carrying on. But they wouldn't. And soon to be back amongst the bunch, and for yet another sprint day, there would be no breakaway. Intermediate sprint came up early into the stage. Mars Persson, who'd crashed the day before, not quite getting the better of Philipsen or Girmay, but he was up there and being combative. Into the final 80 kilometers, and those alarm bells were ringing. Is Melissa Bike at the front, and splits starting to occur. Notable riders missing, including most of Tadej Pogačar's team. He was riding at the front, but the other 7 riders from UAE were well behind. Gap grew to half a minute at one stage, and then was back together 10 kilometers later. The rest of the stage was characterized by nerves. And then we got into the final kilometer and a half. So difficult to keep position. Uno X were doing a fantastic job, led by Magnus Kort. Søren Varnashaw was on the wheel, and then it was the turn of Alexander Kristoff. But by the time that Van der Poel accelerated, they were out the game. Van Aert was looking good. Girmay was behind him. Philipsen closed the door on Van Aert. Through the centre, it was De Lee and Girmay. On the right, as we look at it, it was Dylan Groenewegen just about. And this was his margin of victory over Jasper Philipsen. Third place going to Binyam Girmay. 20 points then for Girmay in the green jersey competition. And this is the yellow jersey competition. Already 3 minutes 21 between first and 10th. 45 seconds between first and second. That gap will change to some degree and in some shape tomorrow. Pogačar, Evenepoel, how will it go? Time trial on the way. Pogačar will be hoping to keep the yellow jersey. Let's get some more reaction from the winning team Here's Elmar Reinders.
Elmar Reinders, you guys did it. Dylan pulled it off. What does this mean to you guys?
Yeah, a lot. We came to the tour to win a stage in the sprint, and we believe we have the fastest guy in the team, and if you can finish it off in a sprint stage is what we came for.
From your point of view, how did you experience the sprint, the run-in, and the final 100 meters?
Yeah, just really chaotic the whole day, and we committed to stay calm until the last 5K and then make one move and hold it.
What does this show from Dylan Groenewegen that he wins here at the Tour de France?
Yeah, that he's one of the best sprinters, otherwise you're not winning a bunch sprint in the Tour.
Congrats, Elmar.
Thank you.
He has won a bunch sprint in the Tour. Typical Dutch directness there. No messing about. Telling it like it is. Well, we appreciate it. As much as it can rub a few people up. I'll be certainly signing medals and orange jerseys. I'll be looking for the orange jerseys tomorrow night and Saturday night, the Dutch play. And here we go. Winner of the sixth stage is Dylan Groenewegen. And here he is. Bravo indeed. Groenewegen on the podium of the Tour for the first time in 2 years and a day. And in that Dutch jersey, that will feel even better. The national champion of the Netherlands is the winner of stage 6 of this 111th Tour de France.
La médaille continentale, il l'embrasse à l'instant, félicité par l'hôte et l'hôtesse continentale et également Claire Tomaselli, adjointe au maire déléguée au sport et à l'olympisme et vice-présidente de Dijon Métropole.
Takes in the adulation, and as we've been hearing, for Jacob Alula, it's a game changer this. It makes their season, changes their tour.
On peut applaudir très fort Dylan Groenewegen. Regardez le bonheur de ce beau champion.
That, like you said, 18 victories, but this is by far and away the most important one. Now the pressure will be off for the rest of the tour, but the confidence to go for more. Interesting to see what they do with the general classification now that Simon Yates has lost a bit of time. Does he try to get closer again? Does he think more about stages? Top 10 today then: Groenewegen, Philipsen, Girmay, Gaviria, Bauhaus, De Ligt, Van Aert, Dimar, Christoph and Ackermann. Fifth place there was Bauhaus. He's been there or thereabouts the last couple of days. Let's hear from the German from Bohring Victorious.
Few words in English, please. Phil. Fifth place today. What's your feeling?
Yeah, I'm happy. My legs were not so good in the end, so I tried to just get the best possible result. And yeah, when you said I was fifth, then I'm happy with that.
How was it in the final with this last runabout?
Yeah, it was quite strong headwind, I would say, and the roundabout was actually okay. It was super big and was not really dangerous, so that was all good. And yeah, I tried to position myself good to not kill my legs. So yeah, it went also okay. So at the end, I need to be happy then.
Because you had mountain stage, a stage with the wind. It was chaotic day a bit.
Yeah, not chaotic, but it was hard. Like we had to be sharp all day, and yeah. So at the end, it was yeah, it was a hard day.
Thank you so much.
Maillot jaune parrainé par LCL.
Content with his fifth place. Following man will be content with. Big day yesterday for Jacob Alula. Victory that makes their tour. Today they race against the clock. 174 riders to take on the time trial at this Tour de France. Many just getting round, others looking to win, plenty looking to defend their place in the general classification. The charts will look different tonight. Will be those rising to the top, will be the losers. It's 25.3 kilometers. A course in and around Burgundy. Beautiful part of the world, and the sun is shining, but it's serious business on the roads of France. Marco Pinotti's in town. Before he got here though yesterday, the team were already victorious. This is how Dylan Groenewegen won stage 6. A new sprint stage, a new winner. Every day's different at this Tour de France. Girmay, Cavendish, and now Groenewegen, the first man to win in the Dutch champions jersey since the year 2000. Then it was Leon Fonpon. Now it's Dylan Groenewegen. The return of the backman, eh?
The first sprint I had really the feeling that I was the strongest, but on the end, Girmay did everything right and he got that victory, so yeah, that was good for him. Yeah, then yesterday I had not a really good feeling, so the confidence in the final was not really big and yeah, make the wrong choices, but today I'm feeling really well. The whole team was really, really strong today. We keep it calm. Also after yesterday we are disappointed, had a meeting, make a new plan for today, and yeah, it worked really well.
Disappointment though evident here. Jasper Philipsen, already beaten 3 times, was relegated. Deviating from his line.
Our first goal was, of course, to have a stage victory, and then after, let's say, after this stage, he did a good intermediate, and he was second here. So let's say that he did not win, but for green we came on schedule, and now it's no longer in our hands. It has to fall apart everywhere now, and it's not really up to him anymore. But he has to wait and see what happens next now.
It's certainly not falling apart for Biniam Girmay. He's had a 1, a 2, and a 3.
They said we could do better. So I think it's on the good side, you know. It's because they are super motivated to give me the best lead out, but we are not organized well. So that's what they say. But they are super happy, you know. It's I'm glad to have those guys inside of me and to make lead out, because, like you said, we are in third place. We need to be proud, but they just need to give me the best possible. So I'm just glad to have them.
And Philipsen's relegation means Girmay finished second. It's a very nice lead for him now in the green jersey classification. These are the updated standings. Biniam Girmay with 149. Mars Persson on 111. Abrahamsen, well, he was in the jersey, not really a contender overall. He's down on 87. Wasn't just about the sprint yesterday though, was it? Nervy all day, no real breakaway, and there was an echelon at one point. Pogacar and Evenepoel followed Visma-Lease bike. They knew where they had to be. No, Pogacar was alone. It all came back together though.
First goal in mind is the stage win, of course. And beside that, we will see about the time gaps. Because I know that Jonas and Tadej also do very good time trials in Grand Tours, Primoz as well. So for me, it will be all the focus on the stage win. And after that, we will see about the gaps.
How well do you know the course?
Very well. I think I rode it like 5-6 times, so I'll be. There will be no surprises for me tomorrow.
No surprises for Evenepoel. What about Vingegaard?
To be honest, I haven't seen the course yet, only on video.
should have been there to see or do a reckon of it, but yeah, then I crashed and couldn't do it.
How much will it matter? This man will have seen it. He's already won time trials at the Giro this year. He's got new equipment today, but this is another level. How much will that change? We'll have to watch the day to find out. It's a 45-second lead at the moment for Tadej Pogačar. So that has set the scene, and the world champion is in town. Remco Evenepoel, who swapped his rainbow bands on the road for those on the time trial bike in Scotland last year, with L'Enfant Wilder, and the rest of his Soudal Quick-Step team. Miguel Landa, well, he'll be defending as much as possible today and trying to stay up as high as possible in the general classification to help Evenepoel. Other riders defending, limiting losses. That's the game for the likes of Felix Gall. 25 Ks against the clock. Time to be won or lost. The general classification again will look different today. This is what they're about to take on. Into Burgundy then. And starting in Nuit Saint-Georges. 25.3 kilometers. Up into the hills. 305 meters of climbing over 25 Ks. Well, then it's a flat finish. Once at Moret-Saint-Denis. A final time check before heading for a first ever Tour de France stage finish at Gevrey-Chambertin. The scene is set. It's time trial time for the first of 2 times at this tour. Let's go to our experts.
We are here at one of the most important stages at this year's Tour de France, the first time trial. Hannah, we saw last year, where we only had 1 time trial, how important it was, the impact of it. Today, we're up for a big one, aren't we?
We certainly are. And of course, there's a lot of importance going into this stage, and there's a lot of preparation for the riders, not just this week, but in the months leading up to this. And I think for those going for the general classification, you have to look down at the top 8. They're separated by 1 minute and 32 seconds. So it's so close in terms of that overall GC. And when you take a look at Tadej Pogačar, Remco Evenepoel, Jonas Vingegaard, those top 3 that we're really looking at, it's the first time that they've come up against each other in a really big prize since the first stage of Tirreno Adriatico. So it's going to be a great battle on our hands.
And we will for sure try to get more content down here at the bus area, talk about tech, talk about with the sports directors. But before that, let me throw you out to our colleague, Louis-Pierre Frelu, who is out on the course today.
Yes, we are here after 11 kilometers on this time trial. A few words about the start in Nuit Saint-Georges. It's a technical one because you have to turn around the village. It's small roads and a lot of turns, so you can't be very fast in this first part. Then you go out of Nuit Saint-Georges, and it's not totally flat during all the first part. It's a little up and down during few kilometers before being in this most important part of this time trial. We are here in Rolvergy, and to access to Rolvergy, you have 1.5 kilometers at 6.5%. It's the hardest part of this time trial. Then it's a little climb again during few kilometers, but nothing to compare with what we climbed just here. Don't be surprised if you see a lot of people, because the atmosphere will be crazy this afternoon for the time trial, because all the people are coming now. You will see also a lot of fans of Julien Bernard, because he comes from here. We are at home for him today, and a lot of people prepared something for him, his family, friends, with a lot of photos and everything. And one important thing, look at this. The yellow line has been installed by the organization. People has to stay behind, like these guys. They are behind the line and they can't access to the road. Now we will see Matt to the finish line.
Thanks, Louis-Pierre. Here I am on the finish line of the first TT of this year's tour at Gevrey-Chambertin. And the general consensus is that this is going to be very, very fast indeed. I'm expecting times of just under half an hour for the 25.3 kilometers. So the favourites, 2 obvious picks without a shadow of a doubt. Remco Evenepoel, the world TT champion, who starts second from last today, and of course Tadej Pogačar. And the beautiful thing about this particular TT is we don't often see those two giants of cycling battling it out together. Watch out too, of course, for Primoz Roglic, although his form is a little bit unknown. Also, of course, Jonas Vingegaard, who I think is going better and better than ever. And remember that amazing TT from last year, of course. I've also seen Wout van Aert looking super, super focused. This is a real power course. I think will suit him if he's on a good day. And also watch out for two pure TT specialists, the two Stefans from Switzerland, Stefan Kung and Stefan Bissegger, to settle like the top 10 as well. This is going to be fast, furious. You're not going to want to miss a minute.
A few masks on in the car for the Ineos Grenadiers there. Keep your eyes on that. There is some illness around in the team. Certainly not required nowadays at the Tour de France. Certainly not something we saw in the Ineos Grenadiers camp at the start of this tour. Bikes being ready then, down at the start. And we're not far from the start now. Less than half an hour away.
For such an important day on the Tour de France, this individual time trial, Anders Mielke, it feels very calm here on the ground. It feels like there's no stress or nerves around the team buses here. Are you surprised?
Little bit, but we also have to look at the start list. It's not the guys in the GC who have something on the wrist today. We see Nils Pollitt in the background here. Well deserved having some time with his family. Really deserved. He's very busy, stressed during the all stages, so a calm day for him, but a big day for the GC riders. But we also saw one big GC team, Ineos Grenadiers, wearing masks when they came out of the car. The DSs. What can we read into that?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because they haven't been doing it throughout the whole tour. It's only yesterday where we picked up on that and saw that earlier on today when they were all arriving after their recon. So, you know, perhaps we can't expect too much of them, particularly today or maybe the next couple of days. Let's hope it's not going to be a deciding factor in terms of the race. But interestingly, being here at UAE Team Emirates, and you can just see in the background there Tadej Pogacar's time trial bike. It's the same bike, but there's a few changes in comparison to the Giro d'Italia, where he's got new extensions, new handlebars. They've also changed some of the screws in the bike to be lighter. So overall, the bike is lighter than he had in the Giro d'Italia.
Lighter and faster. According to his mechanic, it's 40 seconds faster than the setup he had in the Giro. But we will get more of that content on the ground here. Stay on our coverage for more tech and nerd things down here at the tour.
Well, that would be roughly a second per kilometre faster for Tadej Pogacar, given that first big time trial that he won at the Giro was 40 kilometres long. It all adds up, it all counts. 25 kilometres today. There are the Arkea Samsic or the Arkea BMB riders. Sandy July Rob. Yellow helmets on for UAE Emirates. They're leading the team classification at the moment. Stefan Kung has the national jersey back. He is one of the specialists. Can they challenge the GC guys?
Pierre, the atmosphere is building here. Lots and lots of people out for this. What's going to be a spectacular opening time trial of this year's Tour de France. And it's going to be very fast. From what we've learned from speaking to the riders, some of the direct sportifs, fast course today.
Yeah, that's what everybody said after the recon. It will be a very fast one. Of course, you have the start, which is not easy. In Nuit-Saint-Georges, it's a bit technical to go around the city of Nuit-Saint-Georges. Then you have this climb, but it's only 1.5 kilometers, and this TT is 25 kilometers. So it's nothing. And also in the second part, you have the downhill, and you have the backwind, which is really, really important. In this part, it will be a very, very fast one. That's what riders say to you too.
Pretty much. I think most riders are going to ride all in on the climb because they can make up more time on the slower part of the course than on the fast part of the course. So they're going to be riding, most riders anyway, from what we've learned, what's called a positive split. So all in and then try and hold the speed. And we've seen some big chain rings as well. 60, 62, 64 to chain rings. So how do you think this course is going to impact the general classification battle? I'm going to put you on the spot, Louis-Pierre. Is it Tadej Pogacar today or Remco?
I think it's for Remco. Remco has to win. He wants to win a stage in the Tour de France. This is the main goal for him, but you know the gap in the GC with Tadej, can he take the jersey today?
I think it's too much. I think if Remco wins, which is a distinct possibility, especially in the rainbow bands, the rainbow bands versus the maillot jaune, remember, I think it will be close. But I think 45 seconds is a bit too much for him to make up. But I think the race for the TT itself is going to be very tight.
Remco Evenepoel also in the white jersey today, let's not forget. Preparations are being finalised. It's a strange old day at time trial day, certainly with 174 riders still there. A long TT, 25 Ks. And Intermarché are ready to go.
Marco, I see you've just done a recon there with Simon Yates. Just give us your first impressions of this course.
Well, it's a typical Dauphiné course, which means it is fast course, but he has a sting on a small, like a short climb that might affect a little bit affects actually a bit the pacing. But generally, especially with the wind and direction that it is now, and it will be this afternoon, it's generally faster than I was thinking.
So it looks like it's going to be a tailwind, doesn't it, most of the way?
Yes, most of, especially except for the start, but it's a valley, so the wind goes into a way that always will feel like it's pushing you.
And obviously gear selections as well. With the tailwind, with that fast downhill, it's really crucial the riders can get on top of the gear too. Yeah,
you know, it's a balance between managing the gear for the fast section and the steepest part of the climb, but that will have also higher power, so it should be something easy to manage for them.
And what about Simon? It's interesting. What kind of things were you talking to him about particularly?
Yeah, we were talking about, you know, how to approach the gear for the climb and the power for that climb, the duration, and then the speed he has to approach that. And then, so that's what we were talking about.
Nice one. Good luck today for the team.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Cheers, man.
It's always an interesting listen, is Marco Pinotti, breaking things down in the time trial. He is Jeko Alula specialist. Doesn't normally spend the whole Grand Tour in any of the races with the team. He's parachuted in for these days. It's a fresh look on things. And the former pink jersey wearer at the Giro d'Italia, a national champion of Italy, Marco Pinotti, saying it's going to be a fast course today with a tailwind for the majority of it. So expect some record times. Used to setting those records. They still have 3 riders in the top 8, let's not forget. That's something else they'll be looking to keep that. Play your cards and the numbers. There is one of the machines they're expecting to use. They think of everything, as you were hearing from Hannah there. Lighter screws. The Belgisch kampioen is now Tim Wellens. He'll have his support. I'm not sure how aero these are.
It feels fine.
They'll be setting the slower times today. Chance to meet the caravan for those who get there early. The goodies will be flying their way before the serious business begins, and a hello to everybody watching at home.
35 ans pour Astérix, Obélix, Falbala, Vercingétorix, un parc avec plus de 50 attractions, des spectacles.
whets the appetite, doesn't it? At one time or another, the big four have all won things against the clock. Today, only one will be able to be crowned the winner on the day. That is if they can beat the other specialists here. But there are wins, losses, draws even perhaps, to be taken in the general classification too. This one of two time trials at this Tour de France. The next will come on the final day to Nice. How will it go today, though? Let's play the predictor. Oh, yesterday was another good day for Bobby Traxel on our predictor game. Not only did he score 20 points thanks to Groenewegen, he also made a gap to his rivals to follow Philipsen's relegation. He now leads with 10 points ahead of Alberto and Darius. Talking of Alberto, he starts today. My favourite for today's time trial is Remco Evenepoel. The Belgian rider has to try to take advantage of the time trials and take hold on the GC standings to make as much of a difference as possible with the other GC contenders, even if they're behind him. But at some point, if he has a bad day in the mountains, he must have to gain some time already. So my favourite is Remco Evenepoel.
Stage 7 of the Tour de France, I'm going to go for Remco Evenepoel. It's the individual time trial. He is the world champion, and he won the big pre-race warm-up, the Criterium de Dauphiné time trial as well. That was a much hillier one, but still, he is the man to beat when it comes to the race against the clock. I'm the woman to get some points. I'm really, really hoping Remco is going to do it for me tomorrow on stage 7. It's the world champion, Remco Evenepoel.
Who other than Remco Evenepoel to win this time trial with this beautiful World Champions jersey? Since the start of the tour, he's up there in the mix, ready to seize his chance.
Awesome.
And he'll do so in his
Great ride.
discipline to win his first step.
Couch, thanks for the follow. You rock. Super appreciate it. Tomorrow, I don't know what we have planned, but there's something. I'm gonna eat and maybe stream some Marvel Rivals. I don't know, we'll see.
They're ready. Long afternoon. Turning up later, warming up, watching the rest of the race on the bus. Different programs for different riders today, but they all have to perform in their own individual slots. They will start
2 hours down, good.
at 1:05.
Good start to the week.
And when we get to the top 10, they will start 2 minutes apart. This the first of these time trials. Cast your mind back though, a year ago. Pogačar then in the white jersey, coming to the end of his 72 days in the thing. Gear ratios on show there for Jonas Vingegaard, and look at what happened in stage 16. Bike change for Pogačar, but the damage was done everywhere. It was a performance that left us open-mouthed. Jonas Vingegaard putting a lot of time into his rivals. In fact, it was one of the TT performances of the century. Pogačar briefly in the lead, but he was blown out of the water.
51 kilometers, not bad.
Who had the day of his career.
Boy, are we going to have to eat.
1:38 to Pogačar, a country mile to everybody else. And a very snug-fitting yellow jersey after that. Pogačar would very famously then, the day after, run out of gas. Mark Cavendish is going to be the first off. He's the current Lanterne Rouge.
So 25 kilometers an hour. That's what, 17, 18? cool. We leveled up. Kinda easy tomorrow. This looks fun. 63 TSS for 54 minutes. Yeah, I mean that's. This one's 4-minute blocks, 3-minute blocks. Alright, whatever. I don't know. I don't know why this didn't count for today, but I'm gonna give it. It's just insane. I don't know what Mywhoosh did. Right? Whatever. Dude, I honestly don't know what Mywhoosh is doing. I just. Alright, maybe I'll see you guys later. Thank you, thank you. Peace. Like, subscribe.
It's all smiles for now at Visma Lisa Bike.